Now we are so happy to be joined by Justin Douenias. In high school, he was a 2019 North Jersey Player of the Year candidate. 275 career points, 171 goals, 104 assists. 3-time Jacobson Division Player of the Year. About 10 other of these records and accolades. I just didn't want to compile them. There were too many. Scored 100 goals over the span of 2 seasons. 40 in his junior year and 62 in his senior year. This is Justin Douenias, Division I men's lacrosse player for St. Joseph's University. How are you, Justin?
Good, how are you? Glad to be here, guys.
Thanks for having on, Justin. Appreciate it.
All right, so we got a lot of questions for you because obviously you're our first in-person guest and you're our first Division I athlete, so very interesting.
True.
Come on, want to get us started?
Sure. So, a question that a lot of people had that we also had for you was, what does the schedule look like for Division I athlete when it comes to school, practice, traveling, other commitments that you have? Like, what's a day like during the season look like at school for you?
Like a day in the life, kind of.
Sort of.
Because of COVID, do you want me to go through like what COVID
Yeah,
was like?
whatever you want to talk about, just like.
COVID was different, so we had to go through it took so much longer to get back into things. So what we mostly did is you have meetings in the morning, and then you'd do 2-a-days. So you'd go have a meeting or do a checkup or something with their trainers, and then you'd go to class, and then go back. You'd either lift or practice. That's mostly that would go on. But usually what I do in a day is class. That was a transition phase that we did during COVID. But class, then practice, more class, and then meetings after, Zoom meetings at night or something like that. That would happen.
And that's after COVID and what you're doing now currently, pretty much?
Well, about towards the end we went to full team practice, which we never did. We had little pods, so they put 20 kids in a pod that was only allowed to practice with each other, non-contact. And then the last week before we had to end early because of school in the city of Philadelphia, we had 50-man practices, which is pretty big. No other, or only a couple other college teams did that. Had 50, 60-man practices. So we did that for a couple days. So you wake up, go to class, go to lunch or something with the guys, and then you'd have practice. It was so weird because all fall we'd have a full team practice, but this year was the only year we were allowed to, or that week was the only week we were allowed for a 60-man practice. So we'd go to practice and come back and probably have Zoom meetings at night.
With last year, I know obviously things got cut short, but obviously you were traveling to away games and stuff like that. When it came to traveling with the team and stuff, it was all bus traveling, or any plane, or?
No plane, because I think our farthest travel was St. Bonaventure, which is in Buffalo. We're near Buffalo, near Buffalo. That was all bus. So
Gotcha.
What we do is just leave a couple days early, sleep in a hotel, check out of the hotel, play the game in the afternoon, and then bus right home.
Gotcha. And with classes and stuff, was it easy for you to manage being away, and I'm sure you had to miss classes at some point?
Yeah.
What was that like?
It's not an excuse. It's more you're scheduled to miss that practice. The teachers already know that you're not going to be there. There's an alert that happens that they have a game tonight, or something like that. We didn't really have too many away during the week games. Most of them were home, so sometimes you just luck out and you don't have class during those times. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Gotcha.
And is that's for all student athletes?
Well, it differs because basketball has 2 games a week. We'd have 2 at the most.
Gotcha.
We'd have 2 games at the most. So I think field hockey would have one game a week. Women's lacrosse is kind of the same as us, 2 games max. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 2. So yeah.
Gotcha.
So something that I wanted to ask you. So lacrosse is a sport that professionally and nationally doesn't have maybe the biggest following out there compared to a football or a baseball or something like that. I was wondering if you could tell our listeners why you love lacrosse, and if you agree why it deserves more recognition on the national level and the collegiate level too. I know a lot of people are into NCAA lacrosse and stuff like that, so if you could talk a little bit about the sport and how it's growing and stuff like that.
Yeah, so first I'll go with how I fell in love with the game. So I don't really. I started in 4th grade, like how everyone else in Glen Rock starts. Really, I just loved it. I played like every sport, so I played like baseball, basketball, soccer, football in high school. So then like growing up, I kind of got bored because I kept playing all those sports and taking them seriously. Like soccer and basketball, I took really seriously. And then it came to a time where I had to decide. So it was more, I was having more fun during lacrosse, and I kind of, when I was younger, I just liked practicing it more. Like I don't think I realized that I liked it more than baseball because those were the 2 sports, but I just think I like doing it more. It was just kind of weird. I think it was more of like a fast-paced game. Like I could always practice and be entertained by doing that. So that's kind of how I grew to like it a lot. So there's, for professional wise, there's an MLL and a PLL. The PLL is, they switched from, like, those players came from the MLL and like the incoming drafts from the seniors for college. So basically like the PLL is more, it's more like they're more advertised. So like they have, like they use Snapchat, Instagram all the time. They use social media. They're sponsored by like Barstool. Like Barstool owns one of their teams or something. So NBC plays their games rather than like ESPN sometimes plays the MLL games. So as it's growing, it's what they did for COVID is a championship series. So I think it was 3 weeks, and they just keep playing like 12 games. Everyone plays like I think like 10 games each, and then there's a playoff. Everyone would I think would make the playoffs, but you get seeded 1 through 6. So that's how that went. And recently, last week, the MLL and PLL are merging now. So that's a big because the PLL had better deals like the NBC. Sponsors, why like Chipotle I think is in that. So I think that was when they merged, that was like the biggest thing, because now most games are going to be played on NBC because PLL already had that deal. I'm not really, I know one team is in the PLL or something like that. I know they can't merge all the teams and there's going to be like a new draft or something, but I'm not too sure. It literally just happened like 3 days ago. So that's why.
Well, that's huge just in the aspect of talent. I mean, you're getting all the talent in one place now, as opposed to having 2 separate leagues. I mean, that's got to be huge to build a brand, getting everything in one place and consolidating that.
Question you asked was like why people should watch it. What I was thinking is more how I feel like there's a stereotype like lacrosse is not like a fun sport to watch or something like that, or it wasn't because not that many people play it. So I would think if you turned it on, you would be entertained. Or if you just watched the game, like maybe not at the high school level, it's a little different. But if you're turned it on, especially the PLO because it's smaller fields.
A lot of people like the college lacrosse too. That's been on like the championships and stuff like that.
That's like the highest level of lacrosse is college because of like the highest rating wise, because it's on ESPN. They take Memorial Day weekend. It's the whole weekend. I think it's Saturday. They play games, Sunday off, and then the finals are on Memorial Day. That's like if you turn it on and there was a good game going on, I think a lot of people would just like kind of just be interested in it, and then maybe like tell other people to watch. I'm not too sure, but yeah.
No, yeah, good. I think it's like I've watched some lacrosse and it is entertaining. It's like, and like especially here on the podcast, we want to like promote other sports and stuff that we don't always like recognize. So I think this is cool to like be able to talk about lacrosse and stuff like that. Something we don't always talk about, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know I've hung out with Justin a bunch, and we watch a ton of lacrosse whenever I'm with Justin. So just being with Justin, being friends with Justin, I've seen a lot of lacrosse, and it's grown on me definitely because it's so fast and like there's the physicality of it, and it kind of reminds you of like hockey, but then like you're sprinting as opposed to skating. So it's a completely different skill set, and it's a really interesting sport. So we were super happy to get Justin on here and talk about lacrosse a little bit.
No doubt.
Yeah, no doubt.
So moving on, segueing into the next question, as you would say.
A segue. Yep.
So we were wondering, what are some other schools that you considered during the recruiting process, and ultimately, what made you choose St. Joe's?
There's it was kind of weird. What went on with lacrosse is like you could get recruited out of middle school. Like that was like a thing that could happen. So. There was a transition. You could play your 8th grade summer and verbally commit going into your freshman year before you've even touched the high school field. So that was like a big part. So being in the right club kind of forced that. So if you were in the right club, then coaches would come watch you if you were playing in the right tournament. So what really happened is like they're so stressful because that summer I like thought I had to be committed because everyone was committing. Like everyone was going to these schools and I was just like I don't really know. I don't really know if that's what I want to do. Right now I don't know anything. I don't even know what I want to major in. I've barely been in high school. So the schools I looked at, my first school I ever visited was Rutgers. That was after like a prospect day, like the weekend or 2 weekends after I visited there. Where else? Like Lehigh was another school. Bryant. I mean, I've been to like a ton of camps and stuff, but those don't really count. I did visit Penn State. That was pretty cool, but there's no shot I was going to go there.
So, like, what ultimately, what made you decide with St. Joe's? Like, what was there a moment where you were like, St. Joe's is it. I want to spend 4 years there playing for that program.
I mean, when I did my visit at St. Joe's, it was kind of funny. So I think I was coming back from a tournament in Philly, and I had like nice clothes or something. So I was like all set up. They were like, "Yeah, do you want to visit here tomorrow after a tournament or something?" So my parents were like, "Yeah, let's just stop by." And my coaches were saying like, because my club coaches, there's a lot of kids that went to St. Joe's from my club program. So
sorry to interrupt real quick. Like just like a side question. The club like thing, that's like, so like a lot of like people that try to play college, like you gotta play club. That's not just like high school, right?
Yeah, it depends how good your high school is. So like some summer, like it's like AAU for people that wouldn't.
For basketball.
Yeah,
for
it's like AAU
okay.
for basketball.
Okay.
That's like the same type of deal. But if you have a good high school, they play. That's a summer program too. They play summer tournaments that coaches would go to.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like based off of what high school you go to. Like we went to a small public school, like pretty good, but you kind of need, if you want to play in college, like not too many college coaches are gonna watch your games because they have their own seasons to worry about.
You need that exposure, right?
You just need like playing club around here. It's also a big market for a lot of like they would. Like email you like, oh, we would want you to like a personal email. They were like, why don't you play for us? And like, I think a high school kid would love to do that if they love lacrosse. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So sorry to interrupt you there, Beth. So you were saying your parents after that trip were like, let's go visit St. Joe's.
Yeah, and there was like a big, like from my club program to St. Joe's, like a lot of kids visited, a lot of kids went there. So I visited and we had my dog there and the coaches were there and I was like, yeah, we don't want to leave the dog in the car. It's a hot summer day. And my dog went in like the athletic center with us while I had like a meeting with the coaches. It was pretty cool.
Oh my gosh.
That moment didn't like, I don't think that meant too much, but like that was just a moment that stood out when you guys said that. But I think it came down to like financially, and then how I would do at the school, like academically. Like if I went to like a really good school, I'm not like the strongest student, but it would have been a lot more stressful. And St. Joe's kind of it's like a middle of Philly, so it was just like a perfect place to go to. So it wasn't like a dream school or anything. Like once I visited, I kind of got more interested in doing it. So my parents were like, yeah, if you're so interested and like wanting to learn and you love like the campus and like the coaching staff is kind of the main reason why I committed. But
and like solid program too on top of that.
Yeah, it's a building program, like getting on the cusp. Like we hit the top 20 like twice last year. We've done it before in the past, but we stayed there for a good like 3 weeks. So yeah, it was more of like my interest of the school and what I would have gotten out of the school being in Philly. So it was kind of like I committed going into my sophomore year, so I don't even remember like how like it even went. Like I don't remember not being committed to that school.
Right.
I don't remember like life without knowing what college I was going to.
Right.
It's kind of because it's so long ago.
Gotcha. And I definitely I totally respect your decision because it's like you thought about way more than just like the lacrosse aspect. You thought about like what will this school like will this get me a respectable degree? Will this what's coming after
Yeah.
lacrosse? So I think that that's super respectable. That especially at a young age, you and your family put that much thought into something like that.
Yeah, a big thing with lacrosse schools is like, because there's not that many. There's only 75.
Jeez.
Yeah,
That's
which
small.
is like,
That's not a lot.
No.
I
it's
mean,
not a lot at all. No.
You think about how many
For
colleges there are in the country.
only 75 Division I schools. I mean,
Gotcha.
I mean, still,
Yeah.
that's like not a lot.
but most of those schools are good academic schools. That's like a problem with. It's not like a problem,
Some
but like
football programs.
why certain kids that are really good would not be able to get into like the top schools, because like top schools are Duke, like all, the Ivy Leagues are really good. So it's just like most schools are really good schools, like academically.
Right.
That's a good thing too. Kind of segueing from what we were just talking about it, we touched on it earlier. Because lacrosse just recently has been gaining a bigger following, what are your plans after your college career? Like, do you plan on playing professionally or pursuing anything in the realm of lacrosse or coaching or marketing in lacrosse, or I don't know, like, do you have any ideas?
I think I'm not canceling out playing professional lacrosse. I just don't think it's like I'm at that level that I would want to be at if I wanted to do it. It's also not. It's never been like a dream of mine to be able to play. The dream of mine was to play college lacrosse. Like that was what I would wanted to do.
And you're there.
Yeah, but then, like, and it's not like a dream, but that was like the highest I thought it could go. Playing professional lacrosse is like, compared to how many teams there are, it's like, I wouldn't say it's unrealistic depending on how I could do, but it's not really something I like necessarily want to do. But like, what I kind of want to do, like I don't really know. I've like put in a couple applications for internships and stuff like with a marketing degree that I'm going for. So, I mean, just see where it takes me in Philly. I kind of want to stay near Philly though. I really like the area.
Beautiful city.
Yeah.
Beautiful city.
Especially around it. I felt like that's like my favorite. I know it like in and out too now, so it's like one of my favorites.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's a really nice city.
That's awesome.
So yeah, we have a couple more questions, and then we got a couple questions from the Instagram, and then we'll let you get out of here. Last thing, is there one piece of advice you would give to an aspiring lacrosse player or athlete looking to make it to the next level of Division I athletics?
You like specify an age or just like
Maybe someone
like
just
middle
coming into high school.
or high school?
Yeah, middle school, high school, just coming in.
I would just say like it's more of like do what you love. Like if you don't like if you love something, just like keep doing it. Why would you stop? So you just gotta like keep like that's what I did. I just like never stopped playing. Like it wasn't like something I had to do. It was just something I wanted to do. So it kind of if you don't love doing it, then I guess I mean unless you're like a very gifted athlete and just like kind of want to use it to help you. Like I would just say like working hard, even like in the weight room and like running and stuff, like physically, like it's kind of like draining sometimes, but it's pretty like satisfying,
Fulfilling.
like, yeah, like being able to like finish like crush a workout and stuff like that. So it's more of just like being interested in like gaining to like it, like gaining to love it, because like sometimes that would take away from me in a high school game when I'd like be mad at myself for some reason, but like if I went to go play afterwards and like do my own thing, then I would like love it. Even I would just like forget about the game
And fall in love with the game.
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
Yeah. So we got a couple more from the Instagram. Evan, you want to ask the next one?
Sure. So we got from Bryce_Fish1. How do you balance school and sports?
I feel like this is a big one from high school. Like a lot of kids from high school ask, not just me that, just like I asked my brother that when he was in college. Balancing, it's more of like making a schedule. Thing is, you can't really get lazy. You can't like because you're always on top of things. I live with 4 guys or 3 other guys in a house, so it's kind of we have like our own set schedule. Some of us have the same classes, but the big deal is like you have to like we always have like a writing journal or something, and you like plan out what you're gonna do. So like after practice, like I have to get this assignment done. I have a test 2 days. Let me finish that project so I can study it for it tomorrow. Stuff like that.
So you're saying like basically get good time management and planning stuff out.
I mean, time management's the biggest thing, but you also need to like rest. That's like what I learned, like because sometimes I'd usually I have like 2 hour, 3 hour practices. Sometimes my practices would only be an hour. This year, so like I'd have 2 extra hours a day, like take a nap or just like go get something to eat rather than me like making food or something like that.
It sounds like you definitely have to be like really diligent and like you can't like let up. You kind of just have to like.
Yeah.
You're always going, and if you like slack a little bit, like that could like screw you over for the whole day.
Same thing like academics though. It's just like if you fall behind, like you're gonna get into a rhythm where you're just like lazy and like.
Right.
If you're okay with being like falling behind, but like sometimes it's happened to me. Like I just get into like a month or not a month, like 2 weeks where I just like don't. Like, especially with online school, I don't even know what to do. Like, I don't, like, know what's going on. Because, like, I don't have in-person alerts. And then sometimes, like, email-wise. So it's just, like, falling behind, and then you just gotta... You're always playing catch-up, I think. Because you always have something mandatory the next day, but it's your choice whether or how to manage your school life. So,
Totally.
Yeah.
Especially with the online
Yeah.
stuff, it's just like so different.
Yeah. Sometimes it didn't feel like I was at school, like, ever.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Writing emails or something when I was doing like a test. It was kind of like weird.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Next one from @NickRogers_5. What's better, the celly or the goal?
I think in my case, it's definitely the goal. I'm not good at celebrating.
No celebrations for Justin?
Like, I would celebrate.
A little fist pump, you know? Like
Yeah,
like get a little something.
Like something
I know you
crazy.
used to have the walking dog, even.
But that was a move. That was a move in basketball. That was not a...
You could celebrate with that, though. Give him a little high kick, high step.
I don't know. I think my personality's gone, like, down since that.
Since high school?
Since, like... Not even high school, since, like, middle school. I don't think I celebrated too hard in high school. I don't...
No, but you just played with a lot of...
Yeah, give like a little, you know...
You know, a lot of grit, a lot of dog in you.
It depends,
Right.
I guess. But I think the goal... especially if you make a cool goal.
Yeah.
Definitely, like, do, like, a humble celebration. That would, like, get your, like, the other team pissed off. So.
Be humble.
That's my favorite, yeah.
I feel that.
Last question from the Instagram followers from @Mike_DeAngelis420.
What up, D?
What up, D?
Was Michael DeAngelis the worst lacrosse player you ever stepped on the field with?
No shot. He was probably one of the best.
Yeah? There's no cap going on here?
No. He ran his heart out one time, and actually he almost did. Like, he was passed out on the ground, like, hyperventilating. He didn't have his inhaler. Like, my dad was the coach at the time. He was like, "What do I do?" That was Mike's last practice. So
Really?
But Mike wasn't the worst. Mike loved lacrosse, but he just... I think the worst...
Oh, we're exposing people?
No, but like, I'm just saying... I don't think it was Mike. Because, like, I think... I don't know, it's going to sound like cheesy, but like if Mike was having fun, he's definitely not the worst.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely...
Mike was never miserable at practice, only that time. He was never like, he always loved it. He always bought like new gear and stuff, so...
I mean, you have a really good point.
Mike's definitely not the worst.
Yeah, you have a good point. If you love it, you can't be the worst because you're having fun while doing it.
Mike thinks he's the best. Like when he's in love.
I mean, he asked
so,
this question, so clearly not.
No, but like when he's in love with the game while doing it, like he thinks he's the best.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
That's
Justin,
a great question, Mike.
We cannot thank you enough, man.
Yeah, Justin,
thanks for having
so much
me, guys.
for coming on, man.
This was awesome.
Yeah, this was awesome. Do you have any last words for our listeners? Anyone you want to shout out?
Go Cyclones, go Hawks.
Go Hawks, go Cyclones.
Yes.
With that, thank you, Justin.
Thanks, man.
Hopefully we'll see you
guys.
soon.
Love to be on it, yep.
Peace.